And today we're joined by Kyal Currant. Kyal Currant is an inspiration coach, mentor, teacher, speaker, and sales whiz who has helped over 850 businesses find results and has inspired so many others to do what feels right to them. Now, I'd like to introduce today Kyal.
How are you?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing really good, brother. Really good. Thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it.
No worries at all, man. It's
Love it.
a pleasure to have you on. I was looking through some of the talk topics for today, and I was really excited to have a journey of yourself and what brought you to become the person that you are today, and just your life journey, brother. Sounds like an inspirational one. So I'd love to touch on where it all began for you.
Yeah. So where do I start? I would go back all the way to my childhood. So I was born. So I didn't start walking until I was 2.
Yeah.
And my mum figured something with that basically, and then she took me to the doctors. And then I found I have this condition. It's called Charcot-Marie tooth, which is a muscle and nerve disease, which is basically there's so much research on it at the moment that it's really hard to determine like what the causes of it are, but it's a degenerative muscle nerve disorder where it's just which affects the nerves and muscles from the neck down.
Yeah.
Most people and some people can't even walk with the condition. But for me, I've sort of had all these studies and tests done all the way throughout my life, and every test they do seems to come back normal to the condition. And there's
Yeah.
different types of the condition, whether it's CMTA, it's so many different types. I'm not even sure, like myself, I'm just so oblivious to it. I just sort of keep doing my thing, but I've had so many like nerve muscle biopsies, and they just keep coming back to normal. Then I found that there's actually people out there with the same condition, that it's very rare to find like the actual type of it.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, I've sort of I've grown up in this realm of like being disabled and doing things, but it really hasn't stopped me from doing stuff. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I used to get picked on, used to get bullied, just because of the way I walked, some of the stuff I said, how I looked, because I was different, as you say, in the child in the
Yeah.
classroom, and that was really tough. Like that was really tough growing up as a kid, just being called every name under the sun, and no one really understanding who I was. And then
If
it's
sorry to interrupt, I was going to say, while we're on this point here, like if there's a listener out here that's tuned into this and they are experiencing something similar with bullying and feel like they're different, like you said, what advice would you give to that person?
if I was talking to my younger self, I would just tell them, like, don't let their opinions cloud your own judgment. And it's only names.
Yeah.
Like, don't let their bullying affect what you want to do in your life, because that bullying is coming back to themselves. Like, they're probably hurting inside themselves. So don't let someone else's things they say to you affect you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful, bro, because the key thing you touched on is like they're probably hurting themselves. And what it is, it doesn't validate why they're doing what they're doing, but it helps with the acceptance and the peace of why they're doing it, and makes you understand that it's got nothing to do with you. And then you can separate yourself from the words that they're saying by doing it. So I'm glad you touched on that, bro. So going forward from this stage of school, what was it like transitioning when you're getting into like a teenager and an adult?
Well, as a teenager, I went to grow up on the Gold Coast, born and bred. So as a teenager, I just grew through school. I had these what you call ankle splints on my ankles because I couldn't walk long distance. I got tired real quickly. So
Yeah.
with the condition that I've got, it makes me, my muscles and nerves are sort of a lot weaker than most people. And I was the shortest kid in my high school grade. Like I was shortest kid in like almost the shortest kid in grade 12. And I
Yeah.
have these ankle splints that I walk around with. And then I eventually got a disability scooter through school, and I ended up creating like sort of footpath for me to go around to certain, because my school was pretty massive and I
Yeah.
couldn't walk from one end to the other. So growing up, I still got picked on, but I guess I got people looked at me differently because I had these privileges,
Mm.
and I wouldn't be able, like I'll get segregated into doing stuff when I didn't really play sport because I got segregated into this other sort of, oh, you've got a condition, so we'll put you in here. And I didn't really know any better because it was just a label that they put on me. So I just dealt with it.
Mm.
But
And
I used to just took it to heart, like not realizing, looking back then, I took it to heart too much. And that's probably,
yeah.
but I always used to try and dish it back, but it deep down actually really hurts. So,
Yeah, definitely. And like at the time as well, like being a young person going through school, like everyone's only doing with the best with the information they got, right? So everyone's literally
mm,
just doing the best with what they got. And when you're not equipped with the tools to cope with the pressures that other people put onto you, it's then hard to try and reflect that and use it as something that you can overcome rather than projecting it back. And that's why I think it's so awesome with the work that you do is that you've been through that situation in your life, that you've then gone and learned the skills and tools. Now you're trajectory of life is to give that value back to teach other people so that they can learn from what you went through.
100%. And I feel as though if I can help shift someone's train of thoughts and help them do something in their life, well, it just lights my soul up. So
Yeah.
that's mm,
I can see that by looking at your face now too. I
mm,
can see how much it just lights you up, and
mm,
like because that fire comes from deep within. I think that'll light you up. It's not something that's just surface level, and I can see that by looking at you. Like that's a deep core
mm,
fire. That's great.
mm.
Yeah, and also with those labels too, brother, because us as humans, we can attach labels to ourselves like there's no tomorrow. We can get so obsessed with them. And it's because rather it helps us feel like we're a part of something or a certain group, or we just fall into the trap of becoming the victim of the label as well. So in your transition to overcoming these labels that people put on you, like what helped you in that transition? And what was some of the first moments you realized that these labels weren't you?
Ooh, just got goosebumps. I think one thing is I've always been intrigued in learning. Like
Mm.
I love school. I love school so much because of the learning side of it. I've always so when I as soon as I left school, I went straight to TAFE and university to study different like a couple of degrees as well. But I think for me to get the transition out of it was um I met a good friend of mine, and he I think it's that old saying, it's who you surround yourself with.
Mm.
So I had like I've got like a lot of friends, but I think for me to transition from being a a victim to a valor
Mm.
of my old past, it's just the people you surround yourself with. So I had a
Yeah.
good friend of mine that I literally met several years ago, and rest in peace to him. My friend Brendan, he sort of shifted my whole reality, got me into training, got me into health and fitness, got me into all that stuff, and he really believed in me, and I didn't believe in myself. And he's
Mm.
someone that helped me get through the days. And this was probably when I was 21.
Yeah.
So I was still in that. I was on Centrelink. I was on disability pension. I was studying. I wasn't really in this rough. I was just in this lull. Then I met him, and he sort of got me out of it
Mm.
to just be myself.
How did you meet him? Because when it comes to surround yourself, and I want to say rest in peace as well, but when it comes to surround yourself with people that do uplift you and challenge your beliefs and challenge yourself to help you grow, like how did you meet a friend like him, and how do you continue to meet like-minded people?
Well, we initially met telemarketing together
Oh, nice.
several years ago, and we sort of shared similar interests, like both love of MMA and stuff like that. And we just sort of bonded from there, and we ended up becoming really good friends. Like we talk every day, almost every day. Just how he like just how you going, brother? How was your day? What's this and that? And you don't, those friends are hard to come by. Yes, people have their busy
Mm,
lives, but just checking in, see how you are and what you're doing. And like, I think having the level of interest and just, he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time.
yeah.
And the love he showed for me, I can now look back and see what he what he had to give.
It's leading with that unconditional love.
Yeah, and looking back, it's like I was oblivious to it.
Yeah.
I was just thought he was a good friend, and I've got a lot of good friends looked out for me, but um, challenging is definitely something like he like even whether if it's just mentally, physically, just being able to challenge someone on a certain thing. He challenged me when we were training together, so it was good,
Yeah. Because when did you
and other
first?
friends as well.
Yeah. Like when did you first start training as well? Because I see now, like at the start of the podcast, you said you didn't start walking till you're two, and then you had to walk with support as well growing up. But then now I see videos of you doing like boxing and kickboxing, I believe. So when did that start for you getting into health and fitness?
Well, another friend of mine, Brennan, and he's someone that challenged me all the time. We met in high school. Like we sort of didn't connect until outside of school. We shared the same interest in MMA and all the other stuff, and we sort of dwelled since then. And he messaged me one day. He's like, "Oh, do you want to know how to throw some hands?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right." And he got me to his Muay Thai coach, and ever since then I was like, "Oh, let's give this a crack." And ever since then I've just loved it. And now I'm training in another gym now, and it's just the body sometimes doesn't like it, but it's definitely good fitness and it's so much fun. It's just good to be around a good bunch of people as well that share similar interests and just
Mm.
surrounded by people that are into that sort of fitness as well.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about getting yourself in rooms where you know be around like-minded people, especially something like a combat gym. Get me around people who have similar interests, but also similar in terms of growth as well, because they're all there to either better themselves, they're all there to overcome something, but they're all there for a healthy reason. And by putting yourself in those rooms or those positions, you're only going to benefit from it yourself as well.
Well, yeah, I first started like the gym I trained at was really good. I appreciate I thank my coach Glenn Cook for that as well.
Mm,
Um, and it was just learning new things and just being able to be in that environment because I was training gym previously. I was training weight training previously to doing Muay Thai that I do now, but it's just
mm.
actually being able to get confident in something and just enjoy it for what it is. And
Yeah.
I've never looked back since, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. And it's like it's one of those things, right? And like going into the gym, because I know growing up and experiencing bullying as such, I know for some people going into a gym it can feel intimidating on the first day. Did you have any of those thoughts going in, or were you just so keen just to get on that journey of personal growth?
Still, yeah, I still do.
Yeah.
Like I've just signed up to a new gym as of last week, and it's still those thoughts come to my mind.
Mm,
But now it's like I'm accepting of what I've got, and now I definitely those thoughts you have. It's am I going to train wrong? Am I have an accident? And this and that. And it's like all the stuff that you get picked on for just comes to surface,
yeah.
and it's hard. But at the same time, it's like having someone there with you is going to help you support. It's like having a personal trainer. But then again, you got to get your own comfortability and going for yourself for the reasons you want to go for. And
Mm,
that's the hardest part is that acceptance, that judgment piece. It's like, well, I'm not this person or that. I can't do this, but at the same time, if you just give it a go and do the best that you can with what you've got, I'm sure other people around you will support that.
that's a powerful lesson there in itself because I relate with that so much with my story as well. When I first started to the gym was when I got when I was close to getting sober from my drug addiction. I started to the gym and I was super skinny. I was probably around 60 kilos, maybe just under around that somewhere. And when I first walked into the gym, I could only just like lift a stick like on bench. I couldn't even lift the bar. Like I just felt so weak and I felt so embarrassed being there. And like I was so caught up in my head and like I was just overthinking. But the more I put myself in the position of going and just using it as a thing for growth, I then realized now, looking back, probably about 7 years since I signed up to the gym, when I look at people now that, oh, I can tell it's like their first day in the gym or their first week in the gym, like in my mind, I'm clapping them on. I'm like, good for you for being here. Cause like that motivates me seeing people step out of their comfort zone to better themselves. I'm like, yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that as well because I related with you.
It's that piece. It's just giving, like, it's not being afraid to give everything a go. Like, give everything a crack. Like, do what you think is going to help you improve as a person.
Yeah.
Because if you're relying on other people, you're not going to make that next step.
And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard transition to make as well, from being reliant on other people to then becoming independent and find that motivation and build that discipline, right?
Yeah, and I'm still learning it. Like, I'm 29. I'm still learning that piece. It's like, because I've had all these support around me because of my condition. I'm now learning to, like, we never stop learning,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
it's just being able to do what you're comfortable doing and what makes you uncomfortable to get comfortable with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is becoming uncomfortable, because you will then become comfortable. And what makes you uncomfortable, that's no longer uncomfortable. And that's like a funny life lesson that I learned as well, is just put yourself in those situations, because then it becomes normal.
Exactly, and then, like, to the point now where I'm training Muay Thai, and it's so comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I need to take that next step. What's the next step? And I know what the next step is. It's just a matter of keep training it for the right. It'll happen. So the next step.
Yeah, exactly. And what helps you with discipline with that as well? Because I know motivation is not something that can be relied on over a long period of time. So what helps with yourself and discipline?
I think, to be honest, discipline. I think it's knowing the end result.
Yeah.
Like, you can, you can, like, because yes, I sometimes, we're not all perfect, but
Mm.
discipline can mean different things to anyone. But it's about building those little habits that's
Yeah.
going to allow you to just take the next step. It's the little steps to take to move forward. And discipline is something that I've sort of built just from where I work and what I do. But to keep discipline, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get up today, have an intention for the next day, and do it. And if I don't do it, I feel like crap, as most
Yeah.
people would.
Yeah.
But once you do it, it's just getting it done. And, like, it's
Mm.
whatever's gonna allow you to, I think, again, the end goal is the why you're doing what you're doing, the purpose behind why you're doing what you're doing.
Mm.
Otherwise, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, that's great, because a lot of people are disciplined with things and they don't even know why they're disciplined to it. And especially with social media, there's so much information out there. We can take on other people's beliefs, other people's values and whatnot, and become disciplined in things we're not even enjoying. So I think that's a key thing you touched on there, by saying to people like, look, if you want to stay disciplined to something, understand your why behind it and envision that.
Exactly, and you choose to believe someone else's opinions, but if that's not your own opinion, like, let it be. Like, express it in a way that's gonna allow someone else to take a perspective and look at it from your own view, because everyone's got opinions, but you choose
Mm,
to believe someone else's view from your own view. And if you
mm.
don't believe it, don't like gravitate towards them. Actually believe it in yourself that your opinion's right, because sometimes we all have this situation where every opinion is this and this person is one. There's two sides of the story, as they say. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't have to agree with you. I acknowledge you, but
Mm.
I have my own beliefs, and you choose what you believe in.
Yeah. And what the key word you said right there was choose. It's a
Choose, yeah.
choice. It's a
It's a
choice.
choice.
And exactly right. What helped you gain that perspective on everything's a choice? Because it's a hard pill to swallow at first.
I think getting into, like, the personal development realm, it's sort of got my eyes open
Yeah.
um, to it. Like, just learning different tools, different modalities to realize that everything you do is a choice. You don't have to follow everyone else. You can do your own thing if you want to do your own thing.
Hmm.
And if someone doesn't like it, that's not on you.
Yeah,
That's on them.
that's their choice not to like it.
Yeah, exactly correct. Like if you say something and they take it the wrong way, that's something that they need to work on themselves. It's a trigger point for them to do some work, but sometimes people don't understand that. So when you can allow someone to become aware of it,
Mm,
it's something that it's not a reflection of you. I mean, we all a reflection of ourselves in some way or another,
yeah.
but you make that choice what stuff you need to work on.
Yeah, exactly. And we're in control, or we get to choose our reactions as well. Like I know with certain things, our nervous system can be initially triggered, but you can train your nervous system to not be initially triggered, so you can get in front of that, so you can respond in the way that you want. Like I like to use road rage for an example, because like road rage for an example, like if someone cuts me off, my first instinct now is not to like yell at them and call them an idiot. My first reaction or my first response is just to take a deep breath and just continue my driving. Like me in the past would be like, "Oh, you bloody idiot!" yelling at me and
Yeah,
stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
I picture myself looking at them like me years ago. I'd be like, I'm like, just breathe and just smile. Just,
Yeah, exactly. Because if you take that unhelpful, I would say that unhelpful reaction on, it's going to lag for your whole day in other areas that you're going to show up at through the day. And it's like, do you really want to take that energy on throughout the day, or would you rather just leave it in this moment and carry on?
yeah, it's the hardest bit is it's hard for everyone, especially men, is letting
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Like we all you probably agree, we still trying to let go of things, but it's just like just let it go. Like it doesn't like that person doesn't serve you.
Yeah, it's true. Like no matter how much work like I've done myself, like you still have those moments where inside you, you just want to, but it's like it's just containing that and controlling it.
It's like, whoo,
Yeah,
just breathe and just chill out. Yes, you want to get frustrated, but you're making yourself frustrated. A situation you can't control. And that's
yeah,
another thing.
yeah.
Another thing. People focus on the things that are out of their control.
Mm. And after that, yeah, it's true. That's 100% true. Like after those moments where you feel that within you and you breathe and calm down, like do you feel yourself feel more powerful after that? Because I know with myself, like once I feel that reaction, I initially straight away control it and I get back to calm and normal per se. I then feel more powerful because I was able to control that part of myself.
Yeah, 100%. I feel so good just
Mm.
allowing myself. It's like going back to that discipline point. It's like when you can say no to something
Yeah.
and feel like it may not sound like feel good at the start. When you say no, it feels good, and then having
Mm.
not to react about something, it definitely makes you feel like I would say probably accomplished in a way. Like
Yeah.
you didn't react to that situation.
That's a good choice of word, accomplished.
Yeah.
Mm. Like, do you like much of Jordan Peterson's work?
Oh, I love his work. I've read his book, and
Yeah.
some of his stuff. It sometimes triggers me. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit.
Because
I'm
yeah,
like,
because this moment is a perfect reflection on one of my favorite quotes by him. And it goes, "You should be a monster, an absolute monster. Then you should learn how to control it. It's better to be a warrior in the garden than a garden in the war."
100%. I've actually that one I listened. I don't know whether it was the other day, but I've heard that one. I've shared that one as well. Because
Mm,
you can be a monster, but if you know how to tame it in certain ways.
yeah. I feel like that's where the strongest version and best version of yourself is, where you know how to control that side of yourself. Because if you have that side of yourself and it's just wild and untamed, that's when dangerous things can happen to yourself or your surroundings, right? But once you learn the skill to put that on tap and be able to control that, like you get so much power in your life because that also gives you more fuel and more fire to keep pushing forward, to keep achieving more greatness. Because there's at the end of the day, it's all energy, and energy can be used as fuel.
Energy, yeah, we're all built up of 99.999% of like atoms and energy. So everything you do in life is all about energy. It's whatever energy you put out to the universe is what you're going to receive back.
What?
But that negative
Yeah,
energy.
I'd like to ask off that because I love talking about energy, frequencies, and vibrations. It's my gem. But I'd like to ask you, what moments in your life have you realized that was actually a fact, that was a fruition, that the energy you put out there is what you receive? Do you have any examples of yourself?
Um, I think just switching what you say about yourself,
Mm,
because I'm also a hypnosis practitioner as well. So I really learn a lot in that by just switching what you say. The power of your words is so important to what
mm,
you project in the universe. So I used to be someone that said, I can't do this, I can't do that. But then looking back, I'm like, wait, I'm projecting that energy.
yeah.
How can I do something? How
Mm,
can I, instead of saying I can't all the time, you can, it's just you don't want to.
yeah.
What do you make the choice? Anyone can do something. It's just a matter of whether you believe in it yourself. So
Mm,
putting out the wrong energy, like I've learned that, like if I'm, for example, if I'm in a state of like anger or fear, everything around me is shit. I can see
mm,
it in my work, in the people I'm talking to, in in any sort of moment or situation. Whereas if I'm in a place of like happiness and joy, like I've just done a meditation or something and I'm just like enjoying it, I'm smiling, everyone else around me is smiling, the world is wonderful. It's like
mm,
it's crazy to think that whatever you say to yourself is what you're going to project.
mm. 100%. And that goes back to like the world is your mirror, because what you are is what you see.
100. And like, look, I've learned that from, like, it's hard. I've learned it from tough tough things. Like it's, yeah, in order to, as they say, like the world is a mirror, and you can keep getting hit by that truck unless that semi trailer comes, and you're going to realize that like
Mm.
your whatever you're projecting is not going to be good for you. And I had that shift, that rude awakening for me.
Yeah. But that rude awakening is one of the best things that can happen in terms of your personal growth. And it's great that you discovered that at a young age.
Well, I think it's not that, it's just everything else that go, like it's
Yeah.
my condition that I've got, and just people I'm surrounding myself with, and just understanding that someone's someone's life can change. Your life can just change in a split second if you don't make the right choices.
Mm. That's it. Because life is literally just all choices at the end of the day. And it's just being able to maneuver through life to make sure that the choices you are making are best serving you.
And it comes back down to what you're working on. Like everyone's most in this
Mm.
personal, for this personal development, everyone's working on something, an area of their life they want to improve on,
Yeah.
and you have the choice to say yes or no to every situation you're in.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's being able to respect yourself enough, because sometimes it's not good to always say yes. And it's sometimes not good to always say no. It's find the balance to see what actually serves you, what's helpful, what's unhelpful, what's harmful, what's not harmful. And it's just being able to identify what works best for you.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if you heard of the book of The Complete Works of Florence Scovel Shinn. So it's a book
Mm.
all about like vibrations, yeah, universe, energy, and stuff like that. And they were talking about fear and language, because I want to touch back on the language because I feel like that's a big aspect of what can bring huge shifts in our life. And he was talking about this client that he had, and she always said that she's scared of ladders because apparently if you walk under a ladder, it's bad luck. And she always said it. She always said it. And when she went to the bank one day, she had to get past the ladder to be able to get to her security deposit box. And she decided to turn around and walk away because she didn't want to walk under the ladder because she was scared of it. But then she remembered the words of her mentor and said to herself, I'm no longer scared of ladders. And she just repeated herself as an affirmation. She went back 10 minutes later, the ladder was gone completely. And it's like the power of the universe of what you put out there is what you see. And like people may say, oh, it's just a coincidence, someone moved a ladder. But she put that energy out there and the ladder was gone. Well,
That is so true. Like I had that awareness happen. Like I've always wanted, like looking back, I've always wanted a group of people to surround myself with, and I've now got that. Like I've found,
Mm,
and it's crazy when you put out something to the universe, it automatically just appears just like that.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
the law of attraction.
And putting yourself out there as well, because it is uncomfortable. I remember when I went to my first ever like personal development event, and I went by myself, and I was nervous as going. I was like, it's a room full of people, I don't know what to expect. But putting myself in that room has now opened the door for like hundreds and hundreds of different doors over the years. And it's like, wow, just from showing up and making the choice to go to that one place and getting uncomfortable has then brought this new area of my life, which now I'm blossoming into. And have you found that within yourself once you started going to like personal development events? Like you just saw so many doors starting to open for you, or meeting new people, connections, networking?
Like my consciousness is like I've met so many people, and I've so many like-minded people,
Hmm.
because I left school, went straight to TAFE University, so I've always been in that realm of learning new stuff, and I've always loved it because we never stop learning. But I find I've had so many more opportunities. I've heaps of opportunities to where I am at now. I've got I'm loving. I'm very grateful for what I
Hmm.
have in my life right now.
Yeah. That's great to reflect on as well. Like, is that something you consciously do? Is reflect on your life to practice gratitude?
Sometimes I forget. Like, and man,
Yeah.
looking back, I had a moment where I'd write every morning my gratitude journal, just what I'm grateful for. But I'm actually grateful for everything I have in my life. Some of the moments that I'm not grateful, I will get out my gratitude journal, and I'll make sure I write down at least minimum 5 things to be grateful for,
Yeah.
because gratitude is the ultimate form of receivership.
Hmm.
And if you're
Yes.
grateful in your life, a lot of things can happen, magic can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Once you start showing gratitude to your life, because then like giving that good energy back out there to what you've been through, your past and whatnot, to then open more positive energy to come in the future and present as well.
And that's what we're here for. We're here
Mm.
to be the best that we can be as human beings. And looking back, everyone's got their stories. Everyone's been through traumas, been through struggles. It's part of life. Life's going to hit you with a roller coaster. We're going to go up and down. It's
Yeah.
just the journey. It's a game we play called life. It's just how you overcome those challenges, how you overcome those moments where you're in the pit,
Yeah.
and how do you break through from that.
Mm. Do you have any advice around the people that would be in that pit, or how they could then reframe their mind to get out of it in terms of mindset?
I think it's finding it's it's being able to talk to people,
Mm.
because being able to talk to people, they could be have a very similar story.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to talk to people, I get it. I understand that you may not be able to find it, but know there's support out there. Know
Mm.
that people can. We have to just have one conversation and can change your whole trajectory of your life.
Yeah. Literally.
You may not want to have the conversation. It may be hard for you to actually approach someone and have the conversation, but have that conversation.
Mm.
Even though you're struggling, someone else could be struggling as well. And if you're in
Yeah.
that pit, just is it really what you want in your life? Is it really what you want to stay there, or is it something that you want to change?
Mm. Yeah. There's just being able to reflect on the current situation and deciding which way do you want to go from here.
And it's what can you do in that situation that's gonna allow you to take another step. And take another step could be, everyone's got different choices they're making, what they want to do. Take another step. You could
Yeah.
either look back at, like, who are you doing it for? Why? Like, what is your purpose? Like, what is your purpose of being in that state?
Yeah. 100%. And it's like making sure that you're being completely honest with yourself as well in those situations, and don't beat around the bush in terms of what should you do and what do you want to do. You got to be completely vulnerable and honest with yourself in those times.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
Like like I have honest people around me, and I have, and it makes me become more honest about myself. And I've always been honest and transparent, but deep down, when I think back, I'm like, I wasn't honest, but for myself, I was just saying that to myself just to make myself feel good.
Yeah.
But it's just asking yourself the question: is it something that serves you? Is it something that doesn't serve you? And what is it that you're pretending not to know?
Yeah. Not pretend what you know. Because this is a good transition into one of the talk topics as well, was I find very interesting, because you said find your voice to express truth, just be you every day. And I know a lot of people can have challenges with expressing themselves or being themselves. And what do you find has helped you on that journey of expressing and just being you?
I think it comes back down to that acceptance piece, accepting who you are for who you are.
Yeah.
And Brendan was someone that taught me to do that. Like we call each other, wouldn't say not weird, but like we do the most, we talk about the most randomest stuff,
Yeah.
but it made sense to us. It may not make sense to someone else, but that's because it's someone else. So I think it's
Yeah.
just, I think it's just expressing, like, if you want to share something, share it, whether it's writing it down, whether it's saying it to someone. And it's just coming back to like that judgment piece. Like the only judgment is on that person, not you,
Yeah. That's so true.
because we're all a reflection of ourselves.
Mm. Yeah. And that's why, like, we're a reflection of ourselves. And that's why I want to bring it back to language as well. It's so important to be conscious of your language, because, like, even our subconscious mind doesn't know when we're joking, it doesn't know when we're being sarcastic. It takes on every bit of information as literal information, data, then implements that to instill beliefs, values, thought patterns, and whatnot. So even if you say something, and I'm not saying you have to be a robot and be perfect sentenced and language 24/7, but just being more cautious and aware of the language you're using to then make sure that you are programming your mind, because essentially that's what we're doing when we're talking. We're hypnotizing ourselves, we're programming our mind. It's just making sure you're cautious, or aware, I should say, of the language we are using, because at the end of the day, it is programming your mind.
It is, and again, whatever you say, your body doesn't know the difference. So your body's going to react in a way that either can be harmful for you or be good for you.
Yeah.
So it's just reprogramming your mind, and that's something that I never thought about until a few years ago. So it's actually quite powerful stuff when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot to it as well, which is great because it's a lot of information to dive into.
Well, too much sometimes. I just get immersed in it. So I'm just like, this is just blows my mind. Every time I look at something or speak to someone and they've got a different view, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it's like, it's so fascinating because your brain is just this thing that can always be changing and always be improved.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a subject I could speak to you about for about, we could have like an 8 hour podcast, to be honest. 12 hours. Actually, we'll be the first ever 24-hour podcast tonight.
Just get your popcorn ready and
Yeah.
get your snacks and your dinner and lunch.
Yeah, because it's so true. Like, oh, the way our mind works, it can actually be programmed and set up to position itself to overcome any challenges, anything to deal through, any reactions, responses, and whatnot. I want you to understand this, and you can start putting in the stepping stones into building that mindset. Like, you start to see your life come into a fruition that you always wanted. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's why I want to touch on this, because to the people listening, if you are facing a challenge or if there's something that you are stuck on, know that you can program your mind to become, I should say, evolved or grown or in a different position that you want it to be now, because nothing is permanent, especially life, because life changes every day. Even our mindset, mental health, physical health, overall well-being can change every day. So if you feel like you're stuck at the moment, I just want to give you a reminder that you're not stuck. Just put in that work in yourself 1% every day, and you start to see growth and transitions happen in your life.
And that's, I 100% agree with you. Like, you if you put in the 1% little gains every day, you're gonna be able to get out of that stuck situation. And it's something that I've taught myself to do. by
Mm.
listening to certain things, by speaking to certain people, and by just doing little actions to
Yeah.
do that.
What do you do daily to help with that 1% growth? Like, do you read books? Do you get
Yeah,
around
so
people and learn?
I'm a kinesthetic sound like sort of learner. What are they? Kinesthetic and
Yeah, I'm the same.
auditory
Mm.
learner. So I've got books, like literally have tons of books, but I literally just much rather listen to an audible or
Mm.
something. So what I do is I'll exercise in the morning. That's one of my habits. One of my routines: exercise in the morning. After that, I'll go for a go for a swim or go to the beach, and then meditate, do a bit of breath work, and
Mm.
listen to an audible on the way. I do that on the way back from training as I go from a swim, and then I think meditation is something I've never gotten into until the last couple of years, and it sort
Yeah.
of shifted my whole life. It's calmed my mind. It's
Mm.
allowed me to focus on things I want to focus on, and same with breath work. Breath
Yeah.
work's allowed me to tap into something that I tap into my higher self.
Mm.
Allows me just to slow down, just to
Yeah.
just to be in that moment. And it's whether it's listening to a story, it could be
Mm.
non-fiction, it could be fiction. It's whatever you think is going to help you in that situation to gain that 1% to move forward.
Yeah, and becoming more mindful as well. Because I
Yeah.
was like yourself up until the last couple of years, like I wasn't into meditation or breath work whatsoever. Like if you asked me about 4 years ago to do breath work, I would have been like, I'm not sitting in the circle breathing. Like,
what
like,
what the hell is this? Like what
yeah.
this? And then it's fascinating. Like I've never, yeah, it's being able to use your neural pathways to tap
Mm.
into something that is natural.
Yeah, literally.
And I would use alcohol to sort of, because I deal with physical pain, I'll use alcohol to numb the pain, but now I use breath work to sort of help me understand what my body's telling me.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful.
It's one of the most powerful things I've ever discovered. Once I started doing breath work and meditation, and I changed my fixated mind into being open minded, once I got the benefits from it, or once I started to feel the benefits from it, it completely changed my life. Like meditation and breath work are easy non-negotiables for me in my life.
Yeah, if you don't have to do it every day, like I was doing it every day, then I realized, and I'm asthmatic.
Yeah.
So I was doing it every day, but my lungs, I mean, ever since I've started training several years ago, my my lungs have been nothing but good, but doing breath work different levels. So you don't have to do it every day, but if you just want to trial it,
Mm.
it's just the trust and surrender piece. Like that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing, because people get into that fight or flight state.
Mm.
So if you're fighting it, that's because it's new to you. You've got to actually trust and surrender into that piece. And breath work really gets the nervous system pumping, because the nervous system not really experienced something like this before.
Yeah.
So it's just being able to trust yourself that you're in safe hands,
Mm.
and then just do it. I don't know. It's up to you. Like if you want to trial it, just do it. Like here
Yeah.
and there. Not there's heaps of stuff on YouTube. Heaps of
Yeah.
free stuff on YouTube you can look at.
Yeah. It's like the 10-minute Wim Hof one there is. And
Yeah. All the
yeah, like there's heaps of breath works out there. But in terms of like surrendering, like what helped me surrender to meditation was breath work. Because before I did breath work, I'd try and meditate. And I would get frustrated because I couldn't get silence because I didn't really understand meditation at the time. But once I started doing breath work and then the meditation after it, I was then able to learn the skill of meditation. So now I can drop into meditation without breath work. But I feel like breath work was the gateway of me surrendering to meditation.
100%. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I would definitely. I'd have to agree with you. Like if it wasn't for breath work, I don't think I'd be able to surrender meditation. I'm very similar to yourself. I can actually just
Mm.
drop into, after doing 3 in through the nose, out through the mouth breaths, I can drop into meditation just like that. Same with breath work.
Yeah. And
Quite powerful.
that's the beauty of becoming present as well, because you just become still in the moment. And that's what I love about the meditation now. Because before, when I first started, was I want to touch on this for people that are maybe new to meditation or want to get into it. When I first started meditation, I thought it was all about stopping your thoughts and stopping them. So I'll be sitting there for 10 minutes having a fight internally with myself, having an internal argument. Like, why is this not working? But once I've realized it's just to sit, become present, and observe, that changed the whole game for me. Would you say it was similar to you, or what helped you be able to make that transition into dropping into meditation?
I think it's dropping into meditation. That's a good one. It's just being still in that moment. Like dropping into it, it's looking back now, because I'm just reflecting. It's like so easy for me to do now, but if I were to give someone advice who's just starting out into it, you tell yourself a story.
Yeah.
The story you tell yourself you can't drop into meditation, that's the story you're telling yourself. That's your unconscious brain saying you can't do this. Whereas if you just change the words, say, like, I'm going to give this a go, give it a crack, even if it's just for 5 minutes, even 2 minutes, or even a minute.
Yeah.
It's the story you're telling yourself.
That's true. Because I think there's a lot of misconception out there that meditation has to be like half an hour to an hour and sit there. Like literally, sometimes I just do it for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
the benefits from it.
Yeah, sometimes I get lost. I've done long meditations and I'm like, oh, I don't have enough time to do 5 minutes. I'll just do 5 minutes, and it's just, I'm set. Like sometimes it may need a couple of times throughout the day, but again, it's that story you're telling yourself. Tell yourself that you're just going to give it a go, and then see how your body reacts to it. Like my little brother, he's got he's on this higher realm. He's got a bit of autism, but again, that's the label behind it. But he's starting to I bought him a book, educate himself, and he's starting to learn it because his brain's always thinking, and it's there's little things that you do.
Yeah, and it's all about like the 1%, back to the 1% as well, because you got to start somewhere. But every time you practice it, it's a 1% growth, and the more you get that growth, the more powerful it become. And like when I speak to people about the 1% rule as well, like I use gym as an example, or health and gym. And people go, oh, I train, but then I have 2 months off, then I don't want to go anymore. But it's like, if you do 1% every day, have 2 months off, let me start this again. So think of a calendar year, 365 days. If you have 2 months off in that 365 days, you've still progressed 305%. Even though 60% was missing, you've still grown 305% overall in that year, even though you had 2 months off. Still let that 2 months off to be something that pushes you back. Because when you get back onto it, you're 1% over a long-term period as well, as long as you get back on that horse.
That's interesting. That's very true.
Yeah, because like I think a lot of people get stuck on, I used to be like this in the past. Like I always thought short-term. So I wouldn't go to the gym for a month or two. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going anymore. But then I didn't look at the bigger picture. Like if I get back into it now, and then by the end of the year, the progress I would have made from the start of the year till now, like it's just immense of how much growth can actually happen. It's just look at the things at a bigger picture, even though you can't see the results in the moment, or if you can't feel it in the moment.
I think for me, the biggest thing for me with this chakra maritus that I've got, it's I need to exercise.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, yes, it may, like I've been told from doctors to do like yoga and swimming, but I need to move my body. Otherwise my body just stiffens up. And if I don't exercise, it's makes it worse.
Yeah.
And sometimes you may not train for certain periods of the time, but if you just do a little bit of movement each day, it's better than nothing.
I love that you said that. Movement every day is better than nothing. Like, because you don't have to go to the gym and lift heavy. Like, you don't have to be a bloody bodybuilder 7 days of the week, power lifter. Like for me, I go to the gym a few days a week, but the days I don't go to the gym, I'll simply just go for a walk. Like it's all about moving the body, because for me, like it's a healthy body, healthy mind, vice versa. So it's just making sure I move my body one way or another each day. And it sounds like that's a similar for you.
Yeah, and it's okay to rest. It's okay to slow down and rest. And I was like, go, and I was like, no, now I can listen to my body, and I know when it's time to rest. I know when it's time to slow down. Sometimes I don't listen. Like that's because I'm in this my own. It's like, I need to do this. That's like, no, I don't really need to do that. I need to just rest.
And that comes back down to surrendering to your body telling you to slow down, because I know I'll speak from a male's perspective, from my own experience. You can just want to push, like not just with gym, but anything in life, like work, relationships, or whatever it is. You can try and push things to the max and anything in life. And it's just being able to surrender and step back and be like, no, I got to have a little time out or just a little break right now and just reassess and then get back into it.
And you don't need to do like, well, what's saying like you need to do these things? Like you can do it another day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still learning that coming from my perspective as well. Like I'll set myself tasks, and then I set myself too big of a task. I'm like, there's not enough time in the day, but you don't need to do it. Like you can just stop. And a lot of people forget that. Like,
yeah, it's like, where do those beliefs come from? Is that something you've built up from personal experience, or is this beliefs that you've adopted from other people? And I feel that's a question that people are going to ask themselves when they feel like they have to do something.
I think it's just it's not from. I think it's just people. It's stuff I've adopted from other people, other mentors that I've got in my life that
Yeah.
I've actually learned from, and people that I'm surrounding myself with have told me like, Kyle, you don't need to do that, and I'm like, oh, she's probably right, or he's probably right, and I'm like, and it's like, oh, it makes sense, and it's just people again. It comes back to that people you surround yourself with, and the people that I've learned from. It's having mentors in your life. If I had a mentor in my life back when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
like my whole life would be a different trajectory than it is now.
Yeah.
And that's why I love seeing other mentors, other coaches teach young kids, because that wasn't around when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All we taught was from my mother and father.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly what you said there. That's what drew me into doing youth work, was to be that role model that I never had and just be there for young people and try and just teach them things. And even if it's just that one little sentence you may say to them, it might be one of the biggest things, and just being that person there to be an example as well for young people and teenagers too. And that's a powerful thing within itself as an example. And that's why it's great to seek mentors, like no matter what age you're at. I think it's always great to seek a mentor because they can teach you a lot of things about business, a lot of things about life, a lot of things about anything in general, depending on what you want to learn or attain, by someone who's rather got that or has got the knowledge and skills in that. And just learning from them is a great thing.
Yeah, and I think that comes back down to how you grow up as well. Like what's your what have you been through that you can help others with?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm the oldest of five,
Yeah.
so I've always been that mentor for my siblings. And since I've been doing work on myself, my relationship has been, my communication with my siblings is next level. It's like completely different. Like I can now communicate on my mind so much stronger than it was previous to doing the work. So when you can make a change in your life and do the work on yourself, everything else around you shifts.
Yeah, it's beautiful, bro. Like those connections got stronger.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all a reflection of yourself as well. And I think that's a big theme of this podcast today, is that a reflection of yourself is what you see in the world. So if you're putting that work in yourself, it's then going to rub off and you're going to build those connections deeper with your family, which is awesome to hear, brother.
In every aspect of life.
What books, what's some books that you've listened to that have brought an impact into your life or whatever it may be?
One book I listened to would have been a couple of years ago, which most people probably heard of it, was Miracle Morning.
Yeah.
That was a big sort of shift to me. So many books. I'm currently listening to David Goggins, Never Finished.
Yeah.
Man, that's some powerful stuff. Even the Audible on that was awesome. What I would say Miracle Morning is definitely one of my top three books, just because it's helped sort of shift. Have you listened to that book before yourself?
No, I haven't. I just took a note of it then.
Yeah, it's called The Miracle. So it's a Miracle Morning. It's how to start your day before 8 o'clock in the morning.
Miracle
And
Morning.
that's I think it's from Rod Elrod, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Another one, I'm trying to think the name of it. There's a 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's a big one that I listened to. Atomic Habits.
That's a great one.
Yeah, really good one. I think, yeah, they're probably the main books. Even like listening to autobiographies. Like sometimes we listen to someone's story, you can really resonate with you if it's your own story, and that's why
Yeah.
David Goggins really resonates with me so much.
Yeah, his book Can't Hurt Me is definitely in my top 3 books of all time.
That book is crazy, but this one he's got now, it's hit so many triggers.
Is
Like I'm
that?
listening to it,
Oh, sorry. Keep going, bro. Sorry.
I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, gives me so much more motivation listening to it. I'm just like, oh, this is so good.
Is that the one? The cover of it is him running like in the marathon. Yeah, I've got that on my
Yeah,
wish list. I'm gonna get to that.
yeah. There's so many. I've got a list of them. Like there's so many of books that I've read and um listened to that I kept saved. Like my whole gallery is just um what was it? There's You Can't Hurt Me is massive.
Yeah,
Um, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King.
yeah.
That's a great. Oh, Models. Have you read Models by Mark Manson?
No, I haven't.
It's
I'll check that one out too.
Jocko Willink one, Extreme Ownership.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, that's a
Well, there's so many gems for the listeners here for them to have a deep dive into some books to learn
I'll
some
send them
things.
through. I'll send them through. But
Yeah.
it's definitely oh, there's one that really hit me, and it was called The Art of Resilience by
Mm.
Ross Egley.
Oh, yep. I know that book.
It was a guy that ran. It was a guy that swam the channel, and he did it in like a certain period of time. So those stories are really resonating with me, just
Mm.
because of my own story, and also the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, that's a good book too.
Yeah.
Also, bro, I've got one final question at the end there. It's a bit more of a different one. But if you could have, actually, I've got 2 questions for you. The first
Keep
one
going.
is if you can, if you could study with one person on any subject, who would it be? So if you could be mentored by anyone in the world for the next 12 months, who would it be and what would you be working on or learning?
If I could be mentored by anyone in the world, who would it be?
And
Or
what
what I
would
would
it be?
work on?
Yeah.
Hmm, that's a really, really good question. Hmm, what would it be? I'm just trying to think.
It's one of those questions, isn't it? Because it's like there's so
Yeah.
much out there. Trying to pinpoint one specific thing that you'd love to do for the next 12 months or one thing you'd love to learn.
Hmm. I think honestly, it's something I'm working on right now.
Hmm.
And that'd be hmm. I would have to like there's two people that come to mind, and
I'll let you. You got
they're both areas
24
I'm working
months. You
on.
can have both.
Okay, cool. Um, is Neil Strauss.
Oh, nice.
Neil Strauss, obviously his book, what's the name of the book? I've got it literally written down. The Game, I think it's called, or
Yeah.
something. And the other one would be Tony Robbins.
I love that.
Yeah, I think he's just his whole, yeah, I love listening to him, Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Can you imagine 12 months with Tony Robbins?
No, I couldn't.
The next question is if you could have dinner with 4 people, rather alive or in a different life, who are those 4 people at that table with you?
I've had this question asked to me once before, but it was a while ago now. 4 people. It would be past life or this life. Like it would be one, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
2 would be um my mate Brendan,
Mm.
who's rest in peace again, who's not in this world right now. But number 3, This one's would be Dwayne Johnson.
Nice. I love that.
And number 4. Number 4 be probably, I'm just thinking, well, one person comes to mind, Jordan Peterson.
That would be a cool table.
I think just listening, like I love listening to just, yeah, they're the 4 people. I had so many more, but I was like, I think what comes to mind.
Yeah,
and they're all
that's
at
awesome.
different areas of life.
Yeah, like you want a bit of a diverse table so you can listen to so many different perspectives, different journeys, different outlooks. So that's a really cool table. We've finished this podcast up. Is there anything that you want to leave with the listeners? Any messages?
The one message I want to leave with is just whatever you're going through, whether it's personal, business, in your life, know that you can overcome the challenge. You get to choose how you overcome the challenge. Coming from someone who's been through a lot, it's a matter of what can you do to overcome the challenge. And remember that don't let anyone cloud your judgment to what you want to do with your life. Because yes, you may have a condition, yes, you may have a medical condition, but don't let that stop you from doing things that you want to do.
I love that, bro. That's powerful. Do you have anything coming up that the listeners could engage of any offerings that you are coming up, or how could people find you on social media?
Yeah. So on social media, I'm under Kyal Currant. I am Kyal Currant. That's KYALCURRANT. Facebook as well, TikTok, I am Kyal Currant. I've got an event on next weekend with a friend of mine, Jess Mellor. We're running a breathwork Soundling hypnosis event. And yeah, just to keep watching this space.
Where's that event on? Is that Gold Coast?
It's on the Gold Coast. Yeah, it's on the 29th of January at the Solway Hub.
Yeah.
On the Gold Coast. It's limited spots are available. So if you want to come along, most definitely follow me, add me, and you can reach out as well. And also help support other people, like people with medical conditions, to find what it is their purpose is through my programs that I've learned and my own sort of my own life experiences as well.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone checking out Kyal's stuff as well, and all the up and coming things he has coming. I'm a big advocate for the work he does, the message he pushes, and the value he brings into this world. I'll also link in all of Kyal's links within this bio of this podcast as well. So you want to find out the work he does or anything that's coming up, check out the bio and you'll be able to find Kyal and all of his stuff. But I just want to say thank you for jumping on, brother. It's been an honor to have you here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and I'm very appreciative of it.
No worries at all, man. And thank you everyone for listening as well. Please get the podcast to share, follow, and whatnot. But we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you, guys.